Hey guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. Alright, it's back to school season and there are a lot of students out there who are piercing enthusiasts quite like myself. However, apparently there are schools that have like a dress code against piercings, which just blows my mind because I don't think my school gave enough of a crap to really have enforced any kind of dress code, which didn't really affect me at the time because really and truly the only piercings I had were my lobes and one cartilage piercing done at Claire's. Bad times. So for today's video, I thought I would help out my fellow piercing enthusiasts, especially at schools that may not allow piercings. So that means today's video is all about 5 piercings that you can hide at school or even at work if your workplace doesn't allow them. Now, little bit of a disclaimer before I get into this video. I am not saying at all or promoting or suggesting the following. I am not suggesting you go behind your parents' backs to get these piercings done, whether that means you obtain a piercing illegally or whether you do it yourself. Please don't do either or. My next suggestion is if you really do want a piercing but you are under the age where you can, go yourself, where you actually need a parent or legal guardian signature, have a healthy discussion with them. You may face a little bit of pushback regarding getting a piercing, especially at a young age, but if you have a plan of action and you come in with an open mind and realize that your parents or your legal guardian were once your age and so they know what it's like, they have been there before, it may have been in a different time, but they understand you, maybe healthy discussion can lead to something down the road. If they say no, no means no. They are your parent, they are your legal guardian, that's how it is. Not every parent or guardian is going to be like that, but that is just my really long-winded disclaimer about me saying don't go behind anyone's backs to get piercings done. So after this long-winded disclaimer, let's just go ahead and jump into the 5 piercings that I think are pretty easy to hide. Whether you need to hide it for school or work, I feel like these ones are relatively easy to do so. This first one, I feel like most people would probably agree with me, and that is your navel piercing or belly button piercing, however you want to say it. Your navel piercing is super easy to hide because unless you're lifting up your shirt, ain't no one gonna be seeing it. It is the most hidden piercing, well, not the most hidden piercing, but we're not gonna get into those types of piercings. The navel piercing is usually most people's like first starter piercings. Maybe that's just the people I knew in my life. But because it would require you to lift up your shirt to show it off, I just feel like that if you want a piercing, that is a pretty good route to go. Because unless you're lifting up your shirt every 5 seconds, no one is going to know. The next one, and I just kind of touched on it, is your septum. The septum piercing, right here, this good old one, up your schnoz. Your good old septum piercing is super easy to hide if you have a horseshoe. If you have a clicker in like I do, like just a little ring or even like an ornate one, probably not as easy to hide. But if you wear a horseshoe or even like a retainer, something that can easily be flipped up into your nose, you can't tell. I mean, that's how I get away when I visit like my grandparents who are very adamantly against piercings and tattoos. That's how I get away with them not knowing I have a septum. Except for there was the one time I left it down and my grandma found out and she almost ripped it out of my nose. Good times. So this is one of those situations where if your parents or your guardian are super against it, this is where you could be like, look, I've done the research on this. This one is easily hidden. No one will ever know that I have it unless I have it down. Have a healthy discussion in mind. Do your research. But that's another one that's super easy to hide. Number 3 on my list, and this might be a little controversial, especially since I'm gearing this toward school age students because that's typically where there's a dress code regarding piercings. I personally maybe wouldn't suggest getting this done at too young of an age, but the point of this list is ones that can be easily hidden, and that is a dermal. So the little you like take an apple core and you just shove it into areas on you. The reason why I'm including this on the list is because you can pick pretty much wherever you want a dermal. So if you want one back of your neck, unless your hair is up, no one will see it. If you want one along your collarbone, unless you have a top like this on, no one's gonna see it. A lot of people get them like between their breasts right here. Unless you're exposing that for everyone to see, no one's gonna know. There are a lot of different places where you can put a dermal. Perhaps not like on your wrist. I know some people do that. Some people put them on their fingers. I don't know how they don't rip that out. But with dermals, you can pretty much pick wherever you want them to go. And if that's the case, then you can easily be like, oh, this area of my body is always covered up, let's put one there. So while I'm not suggesting that be your like go-to, that is one that can easily be hidden. The next one on my list is your tongue web. So that is the area of the body underneath your tongue, that thing right there. It does have another name, tongue frenulum. That's the official way to say it, but most people call it the tongue web. That one is easily hidden, more so than just a regular tongue piercing, because when you do have a tongue piercing and you're talking, you can sometimes see it. Sometimes people get lisps when they have a tongue piercing. However, with your tongue web pierced, it doesn't mess with your speech. The only problem there is it may rub up against your gums and your teeth and cause other issues. But for the purpose of this list, this is one that's easily hidden because it's under your tongue. When I'm talking right now, you can't see my tongue web unless I lift it up. And the fifth one I'm going to mention is your smiley. I used to want one of these piercings myself, but kind of like the tongue web, there is the possibility of it rubbing up against your gums and your teeth and causing a whole bunch of other problems. So that's why I got away from it. But for the purpose of this list, it is one that is easily hidden. Unless you smile super bright and super wide, depending on the kind of jewelry you have in, you may not be able to see it. Your smiley, for those that do not know, is this webbing underneath your lip. So when you smile, it pops out right here, hence the name Smiley. Now, all of this kind of depends on the jewelry that you have in. So with your smiley, you would probably want a shorter, curved barbell. You don't want anything like a captive bead ring in there because that one will probably show a little bit more than saying like a curved barbell. Same with your septum. You don't want to have a clicker in because you can't flip a clicker up. You can flip a horseshoe up, but you can't flip a clicker up. Now, I am going to give an honorable mention, and a lot of people may not agree with me on this, but hear me out. I am going to give an honorable mention to stretched ears. So even though your ears are already pierced, it's not really a piercing you can go get, but it's a little fun body mod that you can do. Now, the reason why I'm including stretched ears in this is because depending on the jewelry and depending on the size of your stretched ears, you could possibly get away with it. A lot of people don't know that I have stretched ears unless I have a tunnel in, which I do right now. You can see through it. But if you wear a plug and you can't see through it like you can with a tunnel, depending on the size, most people may think it's just a really big stud. Really and truly, when you look at my stretched ears, they're not that big. They are a 0 gauge right now, which is bigger than normal, obviously. But if I had a plug-in, you may not be able to tell. Now, if it starts looking like your lobe is stretching out, then yes, at that point, they're gonna be able to tell. But really and truly, it all comes down to the type of jewelry you pick to have in your piercings. This list is not to say these are the only ones that are easily hidden. Obviously, ear piercings are super easy to hide, especially if you have longer hair and can cover it. You can't see any of these piercings right now. You can only see this one right here, as well as some lobe ones, because my hair can cover it. If there are other piercings that you want and you've gotten permission to get them, retainers are going to be your friend. Now, not all retainers are the same. Some flush with the skin super well. Others, you can kind of tell that there's something in there even though they're clear. So a good little like trick to make sure that it also flushes well with your skin is to take whatever retainer you have, a nail polish that is similar to your skin tone, to take that nail polish, put just a little dot on the end of the jewelry. So on the end of the retainer, usually it's a flat surface. Do not put it on any part of the jewelry that actually goes into your piercing site. Just on the tip, let it dry, obviously. It should be able to blend in well with your skin. If it takes a little bit of makeup to kind of go over the site, concealer, it's for those reasons that we have concealer. Not really, but whatever. So these are just some piercings that I think are relatively easy to hide. Now granted, out of this list of 5, I personally only have 1 of them. So I don't know if they're as easy to hide as I feel like they would be, but just knowing people who have these piercings and knowing how they talk with others and communicate. I know the navel is super easy to hide. I know depending on where a dermal is, it's super easy to hide. The smiley and the tongue web, I feel like are easy to hide. Maybe they're not. Sound off below if you have either of those and let us know if they actually are easier to hide, if people don't notice them as much as you would think. I just feel like because of people I know who have those piercings, the only reason why I know they have them is because they pointed it out before. Again, if your parent or legal guardian says no, no means no. Wait, do not go behind their back. Do not do the piercing yourself because you are asking for problems. Also, don't get a friend to do it like in a garage or something like that because that's opening a whole new can of worms. Let me know in the comments below if your school or your workplace has dress code protocols for tattoos and piercings. Can't really help you on the tattoos front unless you just wear long sleeves and long pants all the time to cover up any tattoos you may have. But piercings are a little bit easier to hide. Also, let me know in the comments below if you have any to add to this list. I just wanted to do a really short, quick list that weren't just ear piercings, because I feel like the majority would have been just ear piercings. But you can hide those with your hair, so they don't need to be added. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button wherever it may be, because I don't know, even though I do. This is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys.